Hello, welcome to today's edition of Daf Yomi. Today we'll find ourselves on the holy page of Menachot 82b. And what a fascinating page it is. The Daf is a continuation of a lengthy discussion about a meal offering and its relation to the other offerings. The Gemara here grapples with the question of whether a meal offering that was brought with the wrong intention or by an invalid purpose is disqualified. The discussion is framed in the context of the Korban Pesach, the Paschal offering, and we see the great rabbis like Rabbi Akiva delving into the intricacies of scriptural interpretation to resolve these complex legal questions. The Daf concludes with a beautiful and uplifting thought from the Mishnah. It is not the quantity of an offering that matters, but the intention behind it. It is immaterial whether one sacrifices much or little, as long as the mind is focused and the heart direct toward God. This is the ultimate lesson of the Daf, and that our service of God is not measured by the grandeur of our actions, but by the sincerity and devotion of our hearts. It is a lesson that resonates throughout the generation and continues to inspire us today. So let's go. Can you say the same? I'll just read from the last one. Chazav Rabbi Akiva dana din achemi lepesach mitzrayim shekein ein ta'un matan damim ve'umurim legabi mizbech. Rabbi Akiva then presents a different logical derivation to reject the proof of Rabbi Eliezer. One can derive the halacha with regard to the Paschal offering of the generations from that of the Paschal offering in Egypt, as what is notable about the Paschal offering sacrifice in Egypt. It is notable in that it did not have the placement of blood on the altar, nor the sacrificial portions to be consumed by the altar. Can you say the same with regard to a Paschal offering of the generations, which requires the placement of blood on the altar and the sacrificial portions to be consumed by the altar? Rabbi Eliezer said to him, the Paschal offering should be compared, as the verse states with regard to the Paschal offering of the generations. And it shall be when the Lord shall bring you into the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, which he swore to your father to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall perform this service in this month. Exodus 13:5. This indicates that all the services of this month for the generation will be like this, the Paschal offering of Egypt. One discusses the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Initially, Rabbi Akiva rejects the statement of Rabbi Eliezer based on the claim that one cannot derive the possible from the impossible. He then rejects the statement of Rabbi Eliezer on the technicality, namely that the two Paschal offerings have different sacrificial requirements. The Gemara therefore challenges, and as for Rabbi Akiva, if he holds that one does not derive the possible from the impossible, let him stand by his statement, and if he retracts and considers that one derives the possible from the impossible, and the fact that he did not derive the halacha with regard to the Paschal offering of the generation and the halacha of the Paschal offering in Egypt, is due to the refutation that he proposed, i.e. that the Paschal offerings are different. Then the Paschal offering that was sacrificed in the second year in the wilderness will prove that its refutation is incorrect. That offering did require placement of the blood and sacrificial portions on the altar, yet it was only for non-sacred money, as there are no tithes in the wilderness. The Gemara explains, Rabbi Akiva stated this objection according to the statement of Rabbi Eliezer. He meant as follows: according to my opinion, one does not derive the possible from the impossible, and this is a sufficient reason why one cannot derive the halacha with regard to the Paschal offering of the generation and the halacha of the Paschal offering in Egypt. And even according to your opinion in which you said that one derives the possible from the impossible, this comparison can be refuted. What is notable about the Paschal offering sacrifice in Egypt is notable in that it did not require the placement of blood on the altar, nor that the sacrificial portions be consumed by the altar. Can you say the same with regard to the Paschal offering of the generations, which require the placement of blood on the altar, and that the sacrificial portions be consumed by the altar? And in response to this, Rabbi Eliezer said to him that the halacha with regard to the Paschal offering of the generation should be derived from the halacha of the Paschal offering in Egypt, since the verse states, with regard to the Paschal offering of the generations, that you shall keep the service in this month. The Gemara asks, but why must Rabbi Eliezer cite this verse? Let him say to Rabbi Akiva, the Paschal offering brought in the wilderness will prove that this refutation is incorrect, since it did not require placement of the blood and the consumption of sacrificial portion on the altar, yet it was brought only from non-sacred money. The Gemara responds, Rabbi Eliezer stated his opinion in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. He meant as follows: in my opinion, one derives the possible from the impossible. And as for the refutation that you raised, that the Paschal offering in Egypt and the Paschal offering in the generations have different sacrificial requirements, the Paschal offering of the wilderness will prove that this is not a valid refutation. According to your opinion, which you said that one does not derive the possible from the impossible, the verse states that you shall keep this service in this month, indicating that the paschal offering of the generations is compared to the paschal offering in Egypt. The Gemara challenges, but even now, let Rabbi Akiva refute this comparison by the same claim that one cannot derive the possible from the impossible. Rav Sheshet says that is to say that one cannot refute a juxtaposition. What does that mean? In Mavin al Hekesh, Rashi explained that this is because one cannot derive a verbal analogy or juxtaposition on one's own. Rather, it must have been transmitted from teacher to student in an unbroken chain from Moses, who received the Torah at Sinai. See also Rashi on Sukkah 31a and Sanhedrin 73a, Rabbeinu Gershon Mohagola. Rabbi Akiva Eger in the Gilyon Hashas on Sukkah 31a notes that on Rosh Hashanah 34a, Rashi writes that one may derive a juxtaposition on one's own. According to the opinion that one cannot derive a juxtaposition on one's own, then the 13 homiletical principles for deriving matters in the Torah only fortiori inferences may be suggested without a supporting tradition. And that's from Rashi on Sukkah 31a. Other commentaries hold that only verbal analogies must have a supporting tradition. Sukkah 31a. I.e., one cannot refute such a derivation on reasoning. And in the study hall, Talbitza, what's that? Talbitza study hall, the word is of Semitic origin, and a similar word is found in Syrian. Its original meaning is a place for sheep to rest. In Talmudic use, it primarily refers to a kind of enclosed flower garden adjacent to a house, and its meaning is extended to refer to study halls or people associated with the study hall. They discuss the statement of the Mishnah that the halach of all obligatory offerings must be bought from non-sacred property is derived from the paschal offering of the generations, and they say that the matter can be derived via juxtaposition, i.e. the paschal offering of the generations, whose halach is derived by juxtaposition from the paschal offering in Egypt, again to teach another matter via juxtaposition. And the Gemara responds, this is not considered an instance of a matter derived from a juxtaposition, teaching of the juxtaposition, teaching a matter derived from another juxtaposition. Rather, the statement of the Mishnah that all offerings are juxtaposed to the paschal offering was stated in a general manner, since the entire paschal offering is one matter. The paschal offering in Egypt and the paschal offering of the generation are both referred to as a paschal offering. The Gemara asks, when asked Rabbi Akiva, who rejects the proof of Rabbi Eliezer, from where does he derive the paschal offering comes only from non-sacred money? The Gemara responds, Rabbi Akiva derives it from that which Shmuel said in the name of Rabbi Eliezer. It is stated, this is the law of the burnt offering, of the meal offering, and of the sin offering, and of the guilt offering, and of the inauguration offering, and of the sacrifice of peace offering, Leviticus 7:37. This verse connects all the specified offerings such that individual aspects of each offering are applicable to all the offerings. The Gemara details these aspects. The verse states of the burnt offering to teach that all the offerings are like a burnt offering, in that just as the burnt offering requires a utensil in its preparation, so too do all animal offerings require a utensil. What is a utensil? It was stated as a bowl, a utensil used for collecting the blood, as is learned from the burnt offering that was sacrificed at Mount Sinai. That cannot be correct, as a utensil for collecting blood does not need to be learned from a burnt offering. With regard to communal peace offerings, it is also written, and they offered burnt offerings and they sacrificed peace offerings, and Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins. Exodus 24:5-6. Rashi in Zerachim 97b writes that since the halacha of peace offerings are applied to other offerings from their juxtaposition in the verse, this matter may also be derived from the juxtaposition. It is not necessary to derive it from their juxtaposition to a burnt offering. Alternatively, Rashi here explains that since this halacha can be derived from either peace offerings or burnt offerings, it should be derived from the former, since one could derive that this halacha applies to all offerings of fortiori inference. Rather, the term utensil must be referring to a knife. All offerings are slaughtered with a knife that is a service vessel abomination. If one slaughtered an offering with any item fit for slaughter, even the stalk of a reed, the offering is valid. This ruling is in accordance with the discussion on the Gemara in Chatei Cholin 3a. Accordingly, the Rambam interprets the discussion here as referring to how one should act abomination. We'll see the word Hilchot Matzah Kabbalah 4:7 and Harikochas there. As the slaughter may be performed only with a knife, but not with a sharp stone or reed. The Gemara asks, And with regard to the burnt offering itself, and where do we derive that it must be slaughtered with a knife? This is learned from that which is written. And Abraham stretched forth his knife and took the knife to slaughter his son, Genesis 22:10. And there Abraham was sacrificing a burnt offering, as is written, and he offered it up for a burnt offering instead of his son, in Genesis 23:13. The Gemara continues to expound the aforementioned verse in Leviticus 7:37. When the verse mentions a meal offering, it teaches that just the meal offering is eaten only by males of the priesthood, see Leviticus 6:9-11. So too all the offerings mentioned in this verse eaten only by males of the priesthood. The Gemara asks, with regard to what offering is it that this halacha must be derived? If one suggests it's with regard to the sin offering and the guilt offering. Thank you very much for listening, and wish you a very good day. All the best. Bye.